Hello and welcome. In this video, we will be reflecting from a conscious perspective on verses 9 through 24 in the first chapter of the book of Genesis. In preceding videos, we established that I am is speaking in direct correlation to the development and growth of the Spirit within. And the words of Son of Man are words of mediation within all doctrines. Please remember, Son of Man's strongest words warned us about the words of the scribes and religious leaders, to the extent of calling them snakes and generation of vipers. In order to understand the absolute truths, we must listen to this message through the Spirit within, and not allow our minds to submit to the physical perspective the scribes and religious leaders have unintentionally portrayed. Only then do we find the absolute truths within our spirit. With that being said, we have already realized that heaven refers to the temple of the Spirit, and earth refers to the physical temple called the soul. That contains the Spirit within. Light is the good within the soul, and darkness is the evil within our minds, and the firmament is what divides our spiritual life from our physical life, the good from evil. Now, when we reflect on Genesis 1.9, we are able to understand that I am is explaining to us he is developing our ability to learn and gain wisdom. We can recognize dry land as our classroom and gathering of waters as the lessons we are about to be taught. In verse 10, I am explains that he has gathered all the waters together into one body, referring to as sea, and at this point the waters are both good. We must remember the waters represent life, as in spiritual life and physical life. Therefore, the sea is the wisdom we shall gain through the physical life experience that is gathered together as a collective whole within one body of water. In verse 11, I am continues to explain how he created our teaching aids, even going into extent of explaining in detail and letting us understand the similarities of how they also contain their own seed within to spread and yield fruit of its kind, just like we do within the human experience. Even the number of each day directly correlates to the spiritual message. If you simply Google 1, 2, or 3 in the Bible, you will find that the Spirit speaks to you through these verses. Also, please recognize juniper represents I am is about to teach us wisdom through what the scribes have called the wrath of I am. Please allow yourself to think of sand and how it is created by erosion through movement of the waters within the sea. As we proceed through verses 12 and 13, the words of Moses reiterates what I am had just said so as to clarify his message. But when we reach verse 14 and 15, I am explains to us how on the fourth day, light in the firmament of the Spirit separates good from evil, while teaching us through signs, seasons, through our days and years. He then reassures us pure energy is within the Spirit. It is put there to teach us how to find the absolute truths, while our soul is learning through the physical life experience. Son of Man confirms this by explaining to us that signs, seasons, days, and years are periods of testing and learning. Son of Man even reassures us by saying 365 times, do not fear. And again, it is confirmed through our cycles of life. And now you can see on our screen, science provides evidence that the words of I am are absolutely truthful. Please take the time to read and research the absolute truths we have provided on our screen. verses 16, Moses is explaining to us the creation of the archangels, Michael and Gabriel, as well as other angels referred to as stars. This is confirmed through the words of Son of Man in Revelations 1:20, as well as the book 1, Enoch, when he speaks of revelations. And those of us that have a belief system that is based off science, we have provided scientific evidence to prove this to be absolute truth. We're all made up of stardust because we contain the spirit within. And a binary system is defined as a system containing two parts, just like our physical life and our spiritual life, even to the point of referring to us as dust, because from dust we were created and dust we will return. Please stop and think of something as simple as the name Mother Earth. When you listen through the Spirit, the absolute truths always shine through. Now, when we continue through verse 17 through 19, Moses continues to reiterate the development of our soul. But when we get to verse 20, I Am gives us the next part of our development as he continues to create our teaching aids. Now, we already know that water represents life because we cannot live without it. And I Am confirms this when he tells us, He filled the waters with living things and let the birds fly in the air above the earth, is telling us that additional spirits are with us to teach, because we already know that air is required to give life. Therefore, birds are spirits created to teach and give nourishment to our soul. And Son of Man words confirms this when he says we are worth more than the birds. Then verses 21 through 23, Moses wraps up the fifth day by once again clearly explaining how the teaching aids filled the classroom in preparation for the sixth day. As we conclude this video, please read the message on your screen and Google what is said about Israel in the book of Revelations, or look at what is happening in space or even the sky. Please, if you're not willing to listen to the absolute truths we are speaking, then consider listening to one out of the other 144,000 spirits that are giving the same message, because time is running out for us to find the common ground. We do not consider ourselves to be above or below. We're simply allowing the spirit within us to speak. In an attempt to become one with you, may peace be with you.